Listen to me, motherfucker. I'm talking. I say horrible things sometimes because I think they're funny. My podcast is a verbal mosh pit because it's just me pinwheeling around. You don't know where the fuck I'm going to wind up, and I generally have no idea when it's going to end or start. I'm responsible for this whole goddamn thing. I want a little respect from you people. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy podcast, folks. It is 6:07 on the West Coast. That means it's 8:07 in Chicago, 9:07 in New York. PM, we're not doing an AM record. Jesus Christ, I'd still be up. I wouldn't be in bed. I'm here at the Lily Von Stupp headquarters, the Stripper Inc. I will tell you, I was downstairs, and you have to come in through the lobby, the oldest lobby in Los Angeles, and look, you folks are familiar with the show The Walking Dead, perhaps, or maybe even television shows called, or the movies called Night of the Living Dead, or Dawn of the Dead, or Day of the Dead, or Dead Calm. Yeah, you guys are familiar with that. There's a boat downstairs. No, your lobby, I was just down there. It looks like it's in the middle of the zombie apocalypse because you walk in, and for some weird reason, I came inside and there's like a pile of clothing just kind of strewn about over, like on the left-hand side board by the mailboxes. And then there were some disheveled magazines just thrown up on the counter. And then there's like a torn bag of oatmeal, and it's overturned and spilled on the ground, which is really nice in the oldest building in Los Angeles because as I walked in, I could hear rats furiously, doing their paws together, waiting to get at the oatmeal once the fat guy got in the elevator. Of course, they're probably gnawing through the cables to trap me in the elevator and have a nice little beefy side dish with their fucking oatmeal. Yeah, so your lobby is in bad shape. And I walked in, it's kind of dark, because it's getting dark earlier. So I walked in, it's kind of overcast, and there's shadows and clothes and torn oatmeal. Dude, I'm waiting to wheel on somebody with a fucking 9mm and blow their goddamn zombie head off. Jesus Christ. Creepy. But fun, because I like to pretend that they're zombies anyway. But still creepy to walk into that atmosphere. And then I got in the elevator, even though, folks, I didn't tell you this a couple weeks ago.
I know.
I forgot to mention this. There's Lily's on the 4th floor of the oldest building in Los Angeles and in Hollywood. And so there's an elevator or there's stairs that smell like feet. So I'm like, all right, well, you know what? I go elevator. Absolutely. I enjoy feet. Sir, we all enjoy feet. I'm not sure I like the smell of feet, but I like feet. Lady feet. Can we get that clarified too? Lady feet? Decent looking lady feet. I don't want to see, some fucking homeless Joan feet. All right, so I'm arriving a couple of weeks ago, and I get in the elevator, and I push 4 because it doesn't make any sense to push 1, 2, and 3 because I'm on 1, and stopping at 2 and 3 is just foolish. I mean, I'm going 2, 4. Why would and the thing is, I will tell you this: when the elevator door opens on 2, it looks exactly as it does on 4. I mean, I'm not seeing any sights. There's no views for me to take in. There's no vista for me to peruse. It's just me going up to 4. So why not just hit 4, cut out the middleman of 2 and 3. Don't even worry about it. Your phone ringing? Text? What's going on?
Nothing.
You looked at your phone.
Yes.
Are you looking at the clock already? Jesus Christ, they've only been talking for like 2 minutes. Oh man, that's not good news. Seriously, if there's a phone call or a text, you need to look at it or check what it is because again, I don't know if you've been listening. The zombie apocalypse may be upon us. I'm in the headquarters of Overturned Oatmeal. I need to know what the fuck is going on downstairs. That could be a warning call from Belle and Sebastian who live downstairs in that apartment, for Christ's sake. They might be calling and go, be careful. The rickety elevator is chock full of zombies on their way up to 4 without stopping at 2 and 3 because they heard there's no vistas to peruse. So I just go straight shot up to 4, folks. So I get in the elevator. I push 4. It lights up. Again, that's how elevators work. That's how operators work. Door closes, and I should tell you, it's like, oh man, it's like an elevator out of Pulp Fiction. You ever see? Because in Hollywood, there's these old buildings that, again, you wouldn't find. Well, I mean, I guess you would find them elsewhere.
Yes, you would.
Yeah, it's dumb, folks. These buildings are so unique. They're actually rocket ships with elevators. I'm retarded, folks. I'm sick too. I got to tell you that. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. And I will tell you this too. We are not talking a lot this week. Because I should have just cut last week's show in half because now I'm sick and I'm here doing a goddamn show with my throat all fucked up and my nose. Huh?
Keep talking about the show. Not going to be long.
Well, I'm serious.
Look, a half hour just telling them you're not going to go an hour.
Look, if I don't talk in fucking circles, I got nothing. I have literally nothing. I mean, you know what? Maybe I should attempt that. Maybe I should just come in. All right, I'm going to ask you folks to vote. All right, you guys send me emails or put it on my Facebook wall, whatever the fuck. I don't care. Write and tell me how you would feel about. Because all right, let's get to this. Last week's show was 2.5 hours long. All right, I'm excited about that because there is nothing I love more than the sound of my own voice. The only thing bad for me about a 2.5 hour show is my cock gets chafed from jerking off all that time. As I listen to it back and realize how brilliant I am. All right, that's where I'm coming from. I don't know how you folks deal with it. So that's my problem with a long show. But also at the same time, I completely recognize that a 2.5 hour show is a fucking Heisman Trophy in the face of any new listener who would ever possibly jump on board with this thing. And I have a group of people, I have a huddle, I have a small huddle. I have 9 people who enjoy this show the way it is. No, I have a lot of you, which are great. And people, it's so funny. I did the 2.5 hour show. I heard from a guy on Twitter. He's like, dude, I have to drive to San Francisco and you drop a 2.5 hour show, you are the greatest. Like he was so happy, and people wrote me and they're just like 2.5 hours. I cannot wait. This is so fucking great. One guy listened to the 2.5 hour show and he actually wrote me. He goes, "You need to do another show this week. Like you need to do 3 shows a week. You should be doing." And I always write them back, and I've said it on here that I would just be a husk. I mean, my entire life force would be sucked out of my body, and I would look like the fucking guys in the Indian burial ground at the end of Poltergeist to come out of the ground. I mean, I would just be a fucking skeleton whose jaw was unhinged and just lying in a pile of words. I mean, there's just no way I could do it. It's crazy. But then I will be sitting in my house on a Friday, and something will happen, and I go, fuck, I wish I could talk about that. Like, I wish I could just go ahead and jump on and do a quick thing and talk about something that happened, a quick thing. I would do a 45-minute fucking monologue about some bullshit that happened on Friday. But so vote. The show's 2.5 hours long last week because the actual main story of the show, I've talked about this a million times. And by the way, I think that the length of a show is a deterrent to getting people on board. How about this fucking navel gazing I'm about to participate in for the next fucking 15 minutes as I fucking deconstruct what I did last week? What a fucking hump! What the hell is wrong with you, dude? God damn it. You know what? Do you know how frustrating it is, folks, to think that you're doing the best work of your life and to think that nobody fucking cares? Do you have any idea what it feels like to think that you are on top of your game and doing something that you've always wanted to do in your life better than you've ever done it before, and you have to fucking see and read about people who are doing something like what you're doing and getting praised for it? Does that fucking register with any of you motherfuckers? God damn it. All right. So I'm trapped on an elevator. Well, I got to finish. I got to get, the thing, here's my thing. When I do the show, all right, 2.5 hours, an hour and a half, whatever the fuck, it's too long. We all know it's too long, but it's not too long for me. I love doing the show. I love making it that long. I love the fact that you people respond to it that way, but I also recognize the fact that I'm putting up a fucking electronic fence between me and anybody else who would go ahead and jump on with the goddamn show. So podcasting, to me, the medium of it is that you can just talk. You can do whatever the fuck that you want. You can talk forever. You can talk. I could do a 4-hour show if I wanted. I could do a 4-minute show if I wanted. Not this week. We're at 8 minutes. All right, but you know what? Cut this in half. I'll do a 4-minute show, and then next week I'll do a 4-minute show. But I mean, that's the thing about the podcasting medium. But unfortunately, the podcasting medium is just it's verbal masturbation. That's all it is. It's complete electronic onanism. There's no filter, there's no director, there's no editor for me to look to keep me in line. And while that's fucking great, why are you giving me?
I was giving you the filter and the direction. Keep on, move on. It was a joke.
I know, but you can't. I see you out of the corner of my eye, and then I'm like, because I've convinced myself that when all right, I don't want to lose the. It's so funny, the elevator thing. All right, so what happens is I get in the elevator. And I push 4, and it's a big Pulp Fiction type elevator, so it's got a door on the inside and a door on the outside. Like, you got to open the door outside with a knob, and then an actual elevator door and get in. So it reminded me to get back to where I was, or see the minutes we were at, so I can go back in here and pick up that thread. Because, folks, I can only spin plates for so long before they all start crashing to the fucking ground. And then you got me sitting here in a stripper's kitchen surrounded by broken china. We can't have that, folks. I can't be sitting here amidst shards of crockery. Nobody wants that. A teetering mound of crockery, one of my favorite phrases, and I think I've actually mentioned it on the show before, said by Neil from the Young Ones. All right. Because he was going to get lentils, but they were hiding behind a teetering mound of crockery. Boom Shanka! Oh, Neil. All right, so, folks, I went to get on an elevator, and I get in, and I push 4, again, because I think I've mentioned 2 and 3 are right out. No reason to go there. So I hit 4, door closes, and here we go, right up. Elevator starts going up. And it stops. And I should say stops immediately. Like, I mean, it literally, I press 4 and it's like doors close and it goes, and it kind of goes up a little, like just a tiny bit, and then it makes this huge whomp noise and completely fucking stops. And I'm in the elevator by myself, thankfully, although I can hear the vermin closing in. And I can hear the zombies outside pawing on the door. This would not be a bad... If the zombie apocalypse hits and I'm stranded in the elevator, good for me. That's fine. I can tunnel out the shaft. And fucking... By the way, tunnel out the shaft is the worst sex act you'll ever engage yourself in. Particularly if you're alone. Holy God, don't tunnel out the shaft if you're alone. So I'm in the elevator and it stops. It makes a huge whump noise and just fucking fries. And I think I detect a burning smell. And I'm like, oh, am I having a stroke? What's happening here? I don't have any toast with me. But unfortunately, it might have been the elevator gears grinding. Whatever the fuck. I don't know. But now I'm trapped in the oldest building in Hollywood's elevator. The oldest elevator in Hollywood by proxy. And so I'm sitting there and I'm 4 is still lit up. And I'm in the elevator waiting, and I know Lily's upstairs waiting for me, and I have a cell phone, but I'm not getting any reception at the time because, again, I'm encased in a tomb in the oldest building in fucking Hollywood. Literally, all it is it's me and King Tut's sarcophagus. That's all that's in this goddamn elevator. There's 2 mummies and a fucking Anubis statue. So I'm in there, and I look at my phone, and I don't have reception, but I'm not panicked yet. I don't need to call anybody just yet. I'm trying to figure out my ways out. I'm like, all right. So I look, and I should tell you, the aforementioned 2 and 3, buttons are still there. I figure, you know what I do? Obviously, it's just this elevator doesn't want to go to 4. Here's what I do. I hit 2 and hope that it gets me up to 2, and then I get off at 2, and then I walk up to 4. Boom, that's it. Work with me, elevator. Take me halfway. So I hit 2. 2 lights up. Boom, here we go. And the elevator starts to go up, and then whomp, huge whomp noise. So I'm on 1. All right, so I can't hit the 1 button. That's foolish. Unless I think hitting the 1 button is going to open the door, which I don't think it is because it already knows it's at 1. I'm not going to trick the elevator. What if I did? What if I tricked? I push 1, and the elevator just opens up, and then it's like, fuck, I had him. It's totally tricked. It's like, you were on 1, fool. Because apparently my elevator is Snoop Dogg. You were on 1. Say, fool. Say, big baby. All right, so I'm in the elevator, and I press... 2, figuring I can get off halfway, and I get the whump noise. I'm standing there. I'm looking, and now 2 and 4 are lit up. 1, of course, not lit up because that's where I'm at. That's my headquarters. I'm headquartered at 1. 2 and 4 lit up. We're not going. So I figured this elevator is you know what? Maybe it's an odd number thing. Maybe this elevator only goes like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, despite the fact there is no 5, 7, or 9. So I figured, well, the only thing I do now is I got to press 3 because obviously this elevator enjoys odd numbers. So I hit 3. Here we go. Elevator takes off, starts to go up, whomp, stops, freezes in place. Still on 1. God damn it, you got to be kidding me. So now I'm trapped, folks. Let's be honest. I've been trapped for several minutes. But now I've exhausted everything my tiny little rat-like brain can think to get me out of the fucking elevator. Now I got nothing. I mean, I'm on 1, so hitting that makes no sense. There's no open door button because, again, this is an elevator. Like, you ever heard of the Otis Elevator Company? Otis himself built this elevator. This was the first elevator ever in existence. I mean, it was like, because until this, they would just stuff children in a dumbwaiter and pull the fucking rope and get them wherever they were going. And adults had to slog up the fucking stairs with the pitchfork of ice. Or tongs of ice. Nobody had a pitchfork of ice. You can't, folks, seriously, go find a huge block of ice and try to stab it with a pitchfork. Oh, wait. That's not working for anybody. You'd have to get 2 people with pitchforks, and they would have to simultaneously jab the side and then carry it up. But then what hallway is wide enough to accommodate 2 folks with sideways pitchforks? There isn't one. Even in the oldest building in Hollywood, they didn't build it, especially not then, because these hallways are built for fucking, color forms people, like crazy thin, because America wasn't fat in the 40s because there was no goddamn food to eat. You know what I mean? It was like, why are you making a 20s? Oh, Jesus Christ, the 20s. Yeah, so the Americans weren't fat back then. You know, they were wearing their fucking tweed suits and their bowler hats and, their monocles and saying good day to everyone and going upstairs and seeing the two twins and talking to the fucking bartender and the guy in the dog suit. And then they were fucking typing, all work and no play makes me a dull fucking boy here in this goddamn building. And then they're waiting for a river of blood and a crone in the bathtub. All right, so no, I'm stuck. I'm in the fucking elevator, man. I've pressed all the buttons that I can possibly press. I got nothing left. So I get out my phone and I don't have reception. So I do what the only thing you can do when you have no reception with your phone. I shake it. Like an Etch-a-Sketch, figuring I'm going to shake it into some sort of submission. I don't know what. It's like, it's not a baby. It's not going to do what you say if you shake it, for Christ's sake. I mean, honestly. Folks, do not shake your baby to try to get to do what you want it to do. Please. Because that's all I need is for you telling people, oh, no, a podcaster told me to shake my baby because it would make him do what I want him to do. Unless you want him to be quiet, really there's nothing your baby's going to do if you shake him. Unless your goal is to make your baby quiet for a very long time, shaking him is not the solution. Take it from a guy with no kids. So I've got my phone, and coincidentally, also, after I shake it, it doesn't work. I just go ahead and I jab my finger to the soft spot on the top of the phone. See if that works. Don't do that either, folks. All right, so I shake the phone to try to get fucking reception. It doesn't happen. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. Really? I'm trapped in the oldest building in Hollywood? Now I picture just decades rolling by and my skeleton in the goddamn... I don't know what the fuck to do. So I've pressed every button. I've tried to get reception on the phone, and I don't have reception. So I do the only thing really left to a man of my talents, to a man of my education, to a man of my breeding. The only solution that I can see left is to pound on the door and scream like a child. So I start pounding on the door, and I mean just like hard, because folks, there's no sense in starting out slow. It's not like I'm like, well, maybe if I tap on the door, I'll find somebody right around here. No, I'm gonna pound until somebody on 4 hears me. I don't fucking give a fuck. I am trapped in this goddamn ancient coffin. Get me the fuck out. Before somebody comes in and takes my brain out through my nose and puts it in a jar and somebody finds it in 1,000 years, and then there's the curse of King Mike's fucking elevator. Nobody wants that. And then all of a sudden they make a fucking Indiana Jones movie, and believe me, Harrison Ford will somehow be in that. 200 years from now, they will have the animated corpse of fucking Harrison Ford with his head in a jar on the top of it, and he'll find he'll be looking for my lost treasure in a goddamn elevator in Hollywood. And you know what my lost treasure is? It's the fucking phone. He grabs it, he shakes it. All right, so I'm there in the elevator. I just start pounding on the fucking door. And I will tell you this. I pound in a civilized way. I'm not like, 2 hands and 2 feet. I'm not a psychopath. I just start pounding with my right hand hard on the door and going, hello! Because what do you almost say? I don't want to say trapped. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I should have yelled fire. If I say fire, everybody runs down and then they see me. Probably. Well, nobody sees me. No, then they run out. Oh, it's even worse. Good thing I didn't say fire. If I say fire, people just go, Jesus, there's a fire, and then they all run outside. And then I'm really stuck in the elevator. And then the fucking firemen come. Oh, I don't want any of that. So it's a good thing. I'm glad. I was thinking even though I wasn't thinking. It was underneath my brain. There was a low hum. All right, so Jesus, fuck. I'm sick, folks. Again, my neurons are not firing. So I start pounding on the door and just yelling, hey, and nobody comes. I mean, this goes on for like 2 minutes. And I've seen people come in and out of this building, and the elevator's not in a different wing. I mean, there's apartments right by the elevator. How do you not hear me? I'm fucking screaming, and this elevator's so old. When you pound on it, it sounds like you're punching a silo. I mean, it's this weird echoing noise. I mean, it's crazy. It's the booming bass and this really deep. I figured going to the basement. I figure even the rats are just like, well, fuck, we got to help this dude. You know what I mean? But real people aren't hearing it, and I'm pounding, I'm yelling, I'm pounding, and I take a break, and I'm like, fuck. I shake my phone again, trying to get some reception. And as that happens, all of a sudden I hear a voice, Mike? And yes, it's me. And now I'm actually weirded out now because who the fuck knows my name? I mean, it must be the caretaker of this building who's seen me in an old photograph, and he's waiting for me to throw an axe in Scatman Crothers' chest. I mean, who else could it possibly be? And he goes, Mike? And I go, yeah? And he goes, hey, it's Eddie. You okay? And Eddie is Lily's boyfriend, the clown, who lives here in this apartment. And I still don't know if he heard me pounding or if he was on his way to the car. I don't know. Again, it's 2 weeks later, folks. We still got a mystery. I just wanted to get the fuck out of the goddamn elevator. And the good news about Eddie is he's not only a clown, but he's a magician. So he's going to be able to snap his fingers and there's a cloud of smoke, and all of a sudden I'm upstairs in the house. Like, I mean, I don't even have to fucking worry about it now. I think that's better than having a cop save you, folks. Better than having the fire department or a cop show up. If you're trapped somewhere, if a magician shows up, fucking fantastic. Unless it's the magician I mentioned last week. That guy just breaks the sign and cries. I forgot to mention that he cried last week. It was funny. I was telling Max the story, and he goes, "You didn't mention that he cried." And I go, because remember, I kind of, folks, the show was long last week. I don't know if I mentioned that. So I glossed over, like, Friday, Saturday, but he was actually, after one of the shows, he actually just cried in the green room, just kind of sat there. All right. Oh, really? Holy God. So Eddie says, "Hey, Mike," and I was like, "Yeah, huh?" And he has to go get help from someone in the building, which disappointed me thoroughly because I'm like, come on, dude, you're a clown. You don't have like a... And he's a balloon guy. I figured he could like put a balloon underneath the door and then blow it, and it would separate the door enough to where we could open it. You know what I mean? Like one of those things. Because he's magical. The guy's fucking magical. But he couldn't snap his fingers. There was no cloud of smoke. He had to go get help. And it turned out I heard him go up the hallway and start speaking in a weird language. Like, I guess it was Spanish, but from where I was, it sounded like Portuguese or something. I don't know what the fuck it was. But he had to get some dude from another land to save me and my own. Okay, the manager. And but he had to go to the basement and flip a switch or some nonsense. I don't know what the fuck it was. So he flips it. I'm still in there, and I'm holding tight. I'm not freaking out. I'm not pounding anymore because, again, Eddie's coming to my rescue. And he and his Spanish friend, they hatch a plot in a different language. And quite frankly, I don't understand Spanish. They might have just been saying, muy poquito gordita trapped in elevator. I don't know, hey, let's not save the fat guy. I don't know what the fuck they're saying. Unless they say llave los manos, I have no clue what's about to happen. And if they say that, I know immediately I've got to wash my hands. So he has to go to the basement and free me. Because he has to talk to because there's down in the basement, there's a guy with a whip and 4 people turning a wheel, and that's what controls the elevator in this building. So he had to go talk to the executioner and get him to, whip them harder to walk faster in the circle and help me out. So finally I'm down in the basement, and then all of a sudden the door's free and open, and I let myself out. And he goes, "Okay, it's fixed." And I said, "What's fixed?" And he goes, "The elevator's fixed." And I said, "Well, can I just take it up to 4? Because, folks, let it be known that I do not learn my lesson ever. This is how fat and lazy a person I am. I was trapped in an elevator for 15 minutes, pounding for help, hitting buttons, shaking a goddamn phone, and finally they had to go and find foreigners to free me in my own country. They had to find foreigners to free me from my fucking metal tomb coffin that I would have died in, quite frankly, and that Indiana Jones in a fucking cyborg state would have had to go ahead and find my skeleton years from now, and they would have filmed it, made a great movie, but nobody would know anything except for the fucking dead fat guy with a duffel bag and a fucking shaking phone in his hand that they would have found. I finally am freed from that possibility. And I look at the guy and I go, "So, can I take the elevator up?" You fat, lazy dick.
You're listening to The 40-Year-Old Boy on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network. And later, those goddamn gypsies.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a phrase from the past of the 40-year-old boy, the legendary Johnny Mathis.
Banana underpants, fish bicycle.
Hey folks, that segment of me trapped in an elevator was sponsored by Andrew I. Andrew I, this is his second time sponsoring something on the show. So, hey, Andrew I, thank you for your attention to detail and your consistent flow of cash my way. And to all of us here at Mike Schmidt Inc. I got to do my taxes. That's coming up because I'm a business, folks. I don't know if I told you I'm a business. I'm in business to do business. We all know that. But I should tell you that as I'm in business to do business, I do so as a business. So I got to do my taxes. I got to call a stripper to do my taxes, actually, to help me out. Hope she's available. So, folks, as I was talking about in the first segment of this hour-long episode of The 40-Year-Old Boy, and it will be an hour, whether I don't give a fuck. I don't care if Lily and I were talking about it before the show. She goes, I'm just going to stop recording at an hour. She goes, I don't care if you're still talking. I said, actually, that would actually be funny if you just went to like radio silence or a test pattern noise, like all of a sudden it just cut off at an hour, because I need that. I fucking need it. That's the thing, is all I do is talk, and I need somebody to look at me and go, dude, seriously? But but then again, I understand. I hear from folks who enjoy longer shows, and I love doing a longer show. And if I have, if I get that much to say, why shouldn't I fucking say it? You know what I mean? But the problem is, you get what we just had here. Which is the way he wants it. So he gets it. A little Strother Martin for you folks. What we've got here is failure to communicate. No, absolutely not. That is not what we have at all. What we have here is too much enthusiasm to communicate. So I when I do the show, I just think it's silly. All right, let's take my hand. We're going to walk through my head, and I'm going to have to hold your hand and lead you through the cobwebs and ridiculousness. And please don't bump into the porn. We're going to walk through my head now, because I'm going to tell you, I feel that I'm cheating people if I don't do a show now that's like an hour and a half long or that long. I know that's stupid to say, but that's what I've done in my brain. Like the benchmark I've set for myself is, because I like sitting down and just talking and doing that thing where I just talk in circles in the beginning and say whatever's going to come up and talk. And then at the end of all that, then I'm like, well, now we can do the story, or we can find something to talk about or find some traction here. Because nothing's planned. I'm not going to lie to you folks. Nothing is planned to talk about. I don't have any direction, which leads to me doing these 90-minute to an hour, 2-hour-long extravaganzas. And that's not what this is about. It's what podcasting is about, but not if I want to grow it and make it into a show. You know what I mean? I guess. I don't fucking know, dude. I don't know. Tough week. Oh, fuck. So you tell me, folks. Write me. Write me at Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. Write me at Facebook, or send me at Twitter, or send me a goddamn snail mail to my fucking P.O. box. I don't care. Just contact me and let me know what you think. What if I just sat down like a newscaster and I was like, hey, what's happening, Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy? One time I went to the store, and then I did my story and just was done with it without fucking the ramp up, without the the running downhill, the thing in the fun part. What if I took the fun part out of the show? Would you guys like it as much as I would? God, I would love it. Because I think we all know how much I love being told what to do or being told what I have to say. Jesus Christ. Every time I get fucking booked for some comedy show, they're like, you got to talk about the movies, or you got to talk about this. When I was doing my buddy Tyler's show, and Tyler and David at Battleship Pretension, they're like, yeah, could you talk about movies? Or I'm doing the Comedy Film Nerds podcast. I just got booked for that, and I'm like, but I got to talk about movies. It's like, dude, this is the one place where I can come and I can talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. You know what I mean? Because you think people want me to go on their shows and talk like this, and just because they'll never get to talk, they'll never get to say a fucking word. It's when I do Goebel's show. There's like 9 of us, so I got to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? It's like, man, this is the only show where I get to talk, and I just get to unleash the dogs and chase my own verbal cool hand Luke through the fucking backwoods and hope he doesn't lay pepper down and my dogs get it in their nose. What am I talking about? The fuck am I talking about? So I guess I need a vote. I need an opinion. And this is a rigged vote. You know what I mean? It's a rigged vote. Because the people who love this show love the format. So what am I even asking for? You can talk.
You had 6 minutes to fill.
I'm never worried about filling time. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's what I got. It's all I do is fill fucking time. But it's not honest. This is just stupid. To ask for people to vote is dumb because I know what they're going to say. That's just like an ego stroke. That's literally just a verbal hand job for myself because I know what people are going to say. We love you and we want to hear you talk more. You know what I mean? Like I said, I have people who want me to do multiple shows a week, and they love the longer shows. So I don't know. I'm trying to. I know what has to be done. I don't know why the fuck I'm asking people. I know what has to be done. I just need to shorten the fucking show and just do it. But there's no reason to fucking tell people that. It's just stupid. Because again, and you're right. I know you're making fun of me because as I talk about this, it just makes the fucking show longer. I know. I get that. Fuck. I just find it to be, I'm stuck. I'm fucking stuck. This week I had, I don't know what it was, man, but for 2 days I had this sadness about me. Like I couldn't shake it. Where I really, started to wonder. You know that thing where you start to wonder. I mean, we all do that. Everyone's got that where they sit back and they go, Jesus Christ, am I? Because look, I've made every mistake there is to make, and I look forward to repeating them all because that's all. That's the only reason I'm breathing is to keep fucking up. Seriously, that's all I am. Is I am a walking, breathing fucking mistake. That's it. I am a guy. I have to buy. I have to only wear gym shoes because they're more comfortable when I step on my dick. Honestly, I can't. I can't be stepping on my dick with a fucking wingtip. Jesus Christ, that's gonna hurt. And nobody wants to see black shoe polish on my cock. Who am I fooling? So I just had this weird feeling of what am I doing and why am I doing it and when is it going to work and when is it, because and this is so funny because this is completely different from the way I felt 2 months ago. When I did the one-man show in August, you remember the one-man show, folks? Remember when I was, this whole season was going to be about me, this whole year 3 was going to be about me creating the one-man show and finally getting it to New York, hopefully in April and all those kinds of things. Well, that's still hopefully on track and it's something that I want to do, but I've not performed it since San Francisco because I'll be truly honest with you, man. Financially, I can't. I can't rent a theater for fucking $300 and then have 5 people come out and then you know what I mean? I mean, fuck. I'll talk to 5 people. I don't give a shit about that. There can't be any doubt about that. Fuck. I will absolutely. If you, as I've said many times, I'll play a phone booth if you promise to call. I don't fucking care. Phone rings, I'll answer it and do a goddamn show. By the way, how old? I got to drop that line because there are no more phone booths in this fucking world. What could it be? I'll play the internet if you promise to text me. So I'm playing the internet. This whole show plays the internet. Stupid. So I can't do the one man. It's like, and then I want to go to cities and do it up there. And I actually made a deal with look, my fan base is not extensive enough to bring me to cities. It just isn't. I mean, I have a fan base and I have a certain amount of subscribers. It's always one amount of subscribers. There's a floor. Okay. I have a floor that I never go under. Sometimes it's much more than that a week, or sometimes something will happen. I'll get a spike, or I'll be on another show, and which is great. But it never falls below that, which is good. You know what I mean? So I know I have a core group of people. Unfortunately, those people are spread out all over the world. I mean, and as an indicator of that, I will tell you that this bitching session is brought to you by Anthony D. from Switzerland, who went ahead and sponsored this segment. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate you sponsoring. And, I got to make sure I'm not repeating people. Hold on, folks. I have a very professional check marking system that keeps me in line of knowing who I've talked about. So as I sit here and whine and piss and moan about all the fucking people that listen to the goddamn show, Anthony D. from Switzerland, you're responsible for all of it. All right, so I have a fan base that's like all over the world, but unfortunately, when people want to bring me to Portland or people want to bring me to Phoenix, well, Anthony D. from Switzerland is not hopping on a plane and coming out to the show in Portland. Is this turning into a poor me show? Do I got to fucking stop it?
No. You have a point, right?
I thought I had a point. I don't know. When do I have a fucking point? Seriously, the point is to fill time, like you just said. That's all I got to do is I got minutes to fill. I just have fucking minutes to fill before I sleep.
Rosebud.
Yeah, no kidding. So I'm that's where I'm at, folks. I'm in a questioning mode this week of what the fuck and why and all those different things. So what, at the end of August, I did the one man, and it was so great. And I was you guys know that I was really, you heard the shows. I was pretty fucking jacked up about it. And then I did the Tarantino Burlesque show coming right off of that, which was fucking fantastic. And I will tell you this, here's some stuff that also was going on at that time. This is the end of August, the beginning of September. All right, I did the one-man show in San Francisco. And then when I came home, Lily got word about the Tarantino Burlesque show and that all what was going to happen and that he was involved, and it was pretty amazing. And in the interval, I got an email from Mark Maron, podcaster, comedian, genius. Mark Maron wrote me a note, and all it said was, people say we should talk. What do you think? And I fainted dead away with the vapors, as we all know that I probably would, because I have spoken on this show many times about how these people don't know who the fuck I am. Nobody knows who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? And how I'm just driving my, verbal pickup truck into a fucking cement wall constantly because it just doesn't escape beyond the ears of the listener floor. Okay, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Like I said, when I did Never Not Funny, I'll get a bump. When I do, I do Jesse Thorne's show. I do, Jordan Jesse Go. And by the way, let me just say that Jesse Thorne has been nothing but really great to me. He was a guy. He's had me on Jordan Jesse Go a couple of times. He sponsored the one man show in San Francisco, and he's also referred me to other podcasts who he thought might be interested in hearing what I do. I'll get to that in a second. So I get an email from Mark Maron. It just says, "People say we should talk. What do you think?" And I immediately wrote him back, and I told him, no, I don't think we should. It doesn't make any sense. No, I of course wrote him, and I said, absolutely, would love to do it. Just let me know when. Wednesdays are bad for me, but any other time is good. He wrote me back. He's like, you know what, I got to figure out the dates, and as soon as I know what's happening, I will let you know. So then I, of course, sat in a chair and stared at the internet waiting to hear word. But again, I'm coming off the high of the one man, and then the Tarantino thing is in play, and all of this stuff is happening, and I'm going to do Mark's show, and again, I not only do I really enjoy Mark's show, the podcast, but selfishly, I'm going, well, fuck, that's going to open me up to a ton more people. I mean, and I actually in my brain considered, I went, well, the week I do his show, if I do his show, I need to actually plan a show, so I have a set show that people are going to listen to off of hearing me from Mark Maron, so I can hook them in. Like you start to think like a real entertainer. I don't know. Instead of just a jerk off who shows up and talks in fucking circles in a goddamn microphone, I actually said, you know what? You need to have a fucking plan of attack, and you need to try to hook people in and get them to listen to what you do. And I should tell you this too. I'm getting ahead of myself. I mentioned Jesse Thorne. He's referred me to other shows. Well, one of the shows he referred me to was the Moth podcast. And several listeners of this show already have written me and said, dude, you should be on the Moth. And my response to them is always, the Moth has no fucking idea I exist. Which is the way it is when people said I should be on Mark Maron, I should be on all these different shows. And I go, look, these people don't know who the fuck I am. So, that's that. So I get an email from Jesse Thorne, and he's like, hey, I just wanted to introduce you. It was an email that was CC'd to another person, and Jesse has a contact with the guy who runs the Moth in New York. And he goes, look, you guys need to meet. I need to introduce you guys because you would be mutually beneficial for one another. Mike, the Moth is an amazing show, and the person he wrote to, he goes, Mike is perfect for the Moth. So I thought that was amazing that Jesse would even take the time to do that because he didn't tell me he was going to do it. I didn't ask him to do it. It was just on his own volition, and I was so happy. This is before the one man and before Maron. This is last summer sometime. So I write the guy, and I go, look, Jesse introduced us. That's really nice. I would love the opportunity to do the Moth show. I don't know how you guys work it. I know you have shows in Los Angeles. You have shows in New York as well. But just tell me, I would really like the opportunity to go up and tell a story and do, and prove that I can do this. I wasn't that needy about it, but I tried to be as nice and cool about it as I was and try to, because again, it was unexpected. So, about a week went past, then I got an email from the guy from the Moth, and he could not have been nicer or more friendly in telling me to fuck off. And he wasn't telling me to fuck off, okay? That's my small, tiny fucking brain going, interpreting what he said. But basically what he said was, the way the Moth works is you go to the shows there in Los Angeles, and you will sign up your name and put it in a hat, and they will pull people out of the hat and get you on stage. I had already been to the website, and I knew that's the way it worked. And also, if I remember correctly, Jesse had sent me an email saying, hey, have you ever considered doing the Moth? And the way they do it is they have live shows in Los Angeles, and you got to go sign up, but eventually you can get on stage. And I wrote back to Jesse. I was like, yeah, it's something I would be interested in doing. I have to check out their website. And that's when Jesse took the initiative to get me in contact with his guy in New York. And when he did that, I just assumed, all right, well, guess what? I just cut the line, and they're going to book me for a show at the Moth. No, he wrote me the email basically telling me, yeah, just go and put your name in the hat. So I went to the Moth. This was actually before the summer. It was last spring and summer. And I went to 4 different incarnations of the Moth here in Los Angeles. And what it is you show up, And first of all, the first one I went to, I couldn't believe it. I show up, there's a line out the door. I mean, down to the end of this bar in Venice or wherever the fuck it was. And I went alone because, again, I didn't know what the hell was happening. And I actually just wanted to check it out at first to see if it was, and again, you're going to laugh, to see if it was something I was capable of doing. Okay? Because I don't know. Look, I know I can tell a story on stage. All right. But I don't know if I can tell a story on stage at the Moth because it's a big deal and I don't know the heavy hitters that they have there. I'm on the website. They show you all the people and the names and things like that. So I'm like, dude, I don't know if I can fucking hang with this. So I went and waited in line and I paid my admission to get in just like every other person in line. And I saw the hat, the stage, and it was packed. It was standing room only in Venice. And I will tell you, I did not put my name in the hat the first night. Because I just wanted to check it out and see what was happening. And with my luck, I know I would have put my name in the hat, and then they would have pulled my name first, and then I would have gone on stage and done the ramp up for 5 minutes, and then I would have fucking been told to get out of the room. And they would have fucking, security would have, charged the stage, hipster security would have charged the stage and choked me with a pavement t-shirt and dragged me outside. So I went just to observe. And all right. I went and watched the Moth, and I saw them. They had the hat, and the woman was very nice, the MC. She was great, and she told a story up front. And then they started to pull names out of the hat. And when they pulled names out of the hat, people went on stage, and they told their stories. And there was, what it is they have 5, and then they have an intermission, and then they have 5 more. And they have people, like, judging the stories. Like, they actually hold up numbers Olympic style and deciding which is a great story. And there's a winner for the night, because then those people can advance to a main stage and be on the main stage. Now, again, folks, I have no interest in any of this. I just want to tell a fucking story and be funny and have people go, God damn, you're great. I don't need 3 fucking people eating chicken fingers to hold up a goddamn legal pad with a number on it and tell me I'm funny. I know I'm fucking funny, all right? So I'm there watching it. I see people going up on stage, and you can tell a funny story. You can tell a poignant story. You can go up on stage and play a kazoo for fucking 5 minutes. They pull your name out of the hat. You've got that time on stage to do what you can with it, and you're at the mercy of the 3 fucking legal pads in the back of the goddamn room. So, I watched the first few stories, and I'm like, I'm waiting to be gripped. I'm waiting to be knocked on my ass by the incredible quality of stories here at the Moth, and I'm waiting for it to happen. And I watched the first story, and it's a person who goes up, and it's actually, I could tell very clearly, she was a comedian. She was a stand-up comedian, and she went up and told a story about, and I don't want to give it away because it's a very unique story because you might know her, so I'm not going to do that. But she told a story that was very unique to her, and with all the comedy beats that I recognize from being in clubs for the last 20 fucking years. And I see the beats, and she's getting laughs. So essentially, she's doing an open mic stand-up set for 5-6 minutes. And what it is they have a rule where at the 5-minute mark, they give you like a buzzer, and then at the 5.5-minute mark, they give you a bell, and then at the 6-minute mark, Norman Mailer comes out and hits you in the face with a copy of a book. I mean, it's like they have a very distinct literary security type of system. So she goes up and she tells her story, and she hit the post on it. They rang the bell, and she was finished. But it was a story that, again, it got laughs and it was entertaining, and I was like, that's okay, I guess. I mean, it was, a decent start to the night, I suppose. She didn't flub her lines, and she knew what she was going to say. And the legal pads, they lick their fucking chicken finger sauce off their hands, and they write their numbers down, and they hold up 9s. And they start reading the 9, 9.5. And I'm in the front of the room, and I actually, I laugh. Like, because look, holster your 9s for a few people, all right? Don't be dropping 9s on the first goddamn story of the night because you don't know what's to come. I mean, sure, she wound up getting abducted in some way and something happened. And again, I can't say exactly what happened because it was a very specific story to this girl. But you don't know what's coming up. Someone coming up might have punched the Pope in the fucking balls. I mean, how does that not get a 9? Jesus Christ. And you can't just be handing out 9s all night. What kind of a judge are you? Have a discerning fucking palate as far as stories go and not just chicken wings. So, I don't know if these people are eating, but it just seems such an arbitrary process. We pick 3 random people out of the audience, and then they have to name themselves. That's the thing, is those people have to name themselves, their judging group, and it's a very communal enterprise at the Moth, folks. So I'm never going there again. This is bad. I shouldn't even be doing this. All right, so. So she finishes her story. The next person goes up and tells a story. And I got to be honest with you, folks, it is a brick. Some story about growing up as a kid, and there was a garage, and he spilled paint, and, and no, it wasn't John Bender from Breakfast Club. How great would that be? if you went on stage at the Moth and you were like, here's a story about what happens at the Bender house when you spill paint in the garage, and just show him a cigarette burn on your arm. Awesome. God damn it, I got to get picked out of that hat. I'm setting the Moth on its ear with a fake story from the Breakfast Club. God damn it. I'm changing the game, Moth. You can go ahead and have Dan Brown come out and hit me with a Da Vinci Code in the head all you fucking want. I'm telling a goddamn Breakfast Club story on your Moth stage. Holy shit. Here's a little story about what happens when you're in the Bender house when you spill paint in the garage. God damn it. I want to do it now so bad.
You have to.
I should tell that story like a real story and submit it. And fucking submit it. When I was a kid, my old man was a little tough on me. And, it's funny, he actually caught me smoking one time. And I thought he was going to be angry. I thought he was going to be very disappointed in me. But he actually bought me a carton of cigarettes. And I was puzzled. I didn't know what he meant by it. I mean, it seemed like an odd gesture. Like, was he happy that I was smoking, like following in his footsteps? But no, here's how it turns out. He's teaching me a lesson. He takes me out behind the garage. He hands me the entire carton of cigarettes, and he goes, "Smoke up, Johnny." And he made me smoke every last one of those cigarettes. Unreal.
You have to do it. Oh my god.
I'm grown up now. Not a smoker. I will tell you this, though. However, last night I'm in a bar. Blonde walks in with a parrot on her shoulder and a 2-foot salami under her arm. How great would that be? I submit fucking fake Breakfast Club stories for the Moth. God damn it. Why didn't I do it before I said it? Should have just done it. You okay? Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Get a sip of water.
Oh
Christmas was a tough time in the Bender household. It's a bang-up Christmas in the old Bender household this year. Jesus. Should have done it before I said it. Yet another thing I should have done before I said.
You still have to do it. I want to go. Can we go right now?
I just tell fake John Bender stories. Holy shit. There'd have to be someone would know. If they pulled my name out of the hat and said John Bender, someone would know immediately.
No.
Oh, God, would that be great? Just like a Moth terrorist. I'm a story terrorist. I declare a story jihad on the fucking Moth. I just show up and tell fake stories from movies.
Oh my god.
Oh, that'd be great. All right. As a kid, I always gravitated to different characters in my neighborhood, people that were odd or, that weren't really, a lot of people just kind of dismissed out of hand, but I like to pay attention to them. I just felt better about myself, and, there was a man named Doc Brown in my neighborhood. He's a crazy guy, and the thing, he didn't do himself any favors because he looked just ludicrous. I mean, he always wore like an operating smock, and he had crazy hair, and he just seemed to be yelling and bug-eyed all the time, and a lot of people just dismissed him. They wanted nothing to do with him, but I felt a certain closeness to people that were on the outskirts of society, like a Doc Brown, and so
I hate you.
I had to why because I embraced people who felt that they were on the edges of society. I mean I was no different. There was a bully named Biff, and he would pick on me all the time. He made my life a living hell. So you know what? I didn't mind hanging out with the Doc Browns in my neighborhood because it made me feel part of something. Jesus Christ. Oh, to show up at the Moth and tell fake 80s stories. God damn, that'd be great. Oh, all right. So, what was I even saying before I almost killed my producer? I don't remember. Where was I? Do you remember?
You told the bad story about...
Oh, the second guy. Yeah, spilling paint in the garage. That's what it was. All right, I'm sorry. You got to. She actually. I wish you could see this. She's actually doubled over and she's like punching herself in the side, like poking, because she has a stitch in her side. Should we just take a break so you can recover at this point?
There's no time for a break.
Oh yeah, that's right. We only got 12 minutes left in the show. Oh Jesus. All right.
Oh, fuck it hurts.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's okay. Relax. So, poor Lily. And it's so funny. You know, you're the only one who thinks this is that funny. I mean, literally me and you, and then everybody else listening, they're just like, what the fuck? Why? I don't get it. They're all going, weren't we supposed to vote on something? Wasn't there a point to this? Were you getting somewhere with this? I promise I was. So I go to the Moth, and the second guy tells a story. He spills paint in the garage. Some bullshit. I don't know what it was. And it's a brick. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you folks. It's a terrible, terrible story. And when, the room is packed, full. And at a comedy club, you can get that weird, awkward turning of the people. Are you all right? Are you okay? Okay, I feel bad now. I feel terrible.
No, it's funny as shit.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah, we have to. Right, sure we are. Okay. So, that's just great. I can't even start, because I feel bad that you can't even, all right. Should we cut this? Should we whack that?
No, just keep going.
All right. Okay. So this guy tells the bad story at the Moth, and it's terrible. I mean, it's at a comedy club, you can tell when the room is turning and you can feel it. But at least in this place, they got to keep to the 5 or 6 minute limit before Webster comes out and hits you with a dictionary. So I mean, he goes ahead and he finishes the brick story, and then they go up on stage and they're like, everybody claps. They're all polite and they're nice, and they ask for the Chicken Finger Brigade to give scores, and 7.5s, 8s.
Oh, Jesus.
And that was the second story. They get 7.5s and 8s, and it was a terrible story, folks. It was terrible. And it was that moment that I went, yeah, I can fucking do this. and I was pissed that I didn't have my name in the hat now, because what they were talking about that night was driving.
Oh, Jesus.
Or experiences in a car. Like that's that's the thing, is the Moth gives you a topic, and you have to have a story that's relevant to that topic. And here's my favorite thing: if you go to the Moth website, and again, folks, I understand I'm a superhuman. All right, I fully recognize the fact that not only am I physically indestructible, and not only am I virtually unkillable, but I know that even though I have a 122 IQ, I can speak a little bit better than most people, and I know how to tell a story. So it's funny to me when you go to the website and they actually have a page telling you how to tell a story. They tell you that if you want to come to the Moth, it's great, and you sign up, and then here's your story. And literally, number one, have a point. You know what I mean? Like this type of breakdown. So after the second person in my brain, I go, you know what, I can do this. So then the third guy goes up, and he tells a very poignant story. Again, very unique to him. But I will say that it's from high school, and there's a rape involved, and it really, it's a long way from the jokey joke of the first one, and technically, you know what? Actually, you could say that in this story, somebody got paint spilled in their garage. Which is actually a pretty good euphemism for rape. By the way, I don't know of anyone in the world that's been seeking out a pretty good euphemism for rape. I don't think anyone has ever went, fuck, rape is so harsh. We need to think of we need a euphemism. We need something. You know what? We spilled paint in our garage. There you go. Done. All right. Man, people just clicking off their iPods, throwing them in pain, taking their finger and pushing in the fucking soft spot on the top. All right. You know what, folks? If you don't like this, shake it. Shake your iPod. A different, funnier story will come out. I promise. So he tells this story, and he winds up in tears, this guy. I mean, he's like not sobbing, but like tears are running down his face, and he's trying to struggle through his story. And I will say this for the Moth, they're all business, because at the 5-minute mark, ding-a-ling-ling-ling, they played a little triangle bell for him, even though someone's getting fucking hosed by, literally it's in the middle of a gang rape and you hear an air horn, which, quite frankly, may have happened in the real story. So you don't want to trip this guy's trigger, for Christ's sake. Back off on the possible, gang rape noises. So, yeah, but he's telling a story about a gang rape, and also in the little triangle, ding, 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 ding. They adhere to their fucking time limits. But he proceeds to just blow right through them. He just he gang rapes the time limit is what he does. He doesn't give a shit about it. I mean, he goes through, and then, like I said, it gets escalatingly more abrasive, their sound. First, it starts with like a triangle, and then there's like a cow mooing or something, and then there's, like an air horn, and then eventually it just runs to a Charlton Heston from the Ten Commandments yelling. You know what I mean? They play a recording of it. But his story goes about 6.5 minutes, and because he's getting it out, man. I mean, you know what? I mean, fuck, you can't wrap that guy up. You know what I mean? He's finishing his fucking gang rape story that he's decided to tell the masses, and he's getting it out there. And it was a good story. That can't be argued. I mean, I'm not going to argue with this guy. Not good in like I was excited about it, but I mean good in that it was something to share. You know what I mean? But it wasn't fucking paint in the garage. You know what I mean? It was clearly a good. It meant a lot to him. Is my point. It was poignant, and it but again, he was weird about sharing, so he didn't tell it well. He talked in circles a little bit. He did what I do. He kept repeating himself and catching himself and stopping and then glossing over details because he saw that he was starting to run out of the time limit. Whatever. Now here, all right. This guy just told a poignant story about gang rape. He got fucking cowbelled off the goddamn stage. That's fine. I understand the arbitrary time limit. Get him off the stage. Whatever you got to do. Folks, if a guy tells a story about gang rape, we don't need to go to the Mozzarella Stick Brigade and find out what their score was, do we? Do we really need to find out what someone eating taquitos feels about this guy's gang rape situation? I mean, it just seems like such a... oh, really? Oh, boy. Folks, remember what I said earlier about arbitrary time limits and things that happen? I haven't even gotten to the meat of this. All right. I'm stupid. Because I didn't think I was going to tell the whole moth thing. But and this is only my first trip to the moth. I went 4 times, folks. And my name's not even in the hat at this point. Which is good because I can't even imagine me following gang rape. Because I will tell you this. After gang rape finished and then they scored it, and of course he got 10s. 9.5 10s. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to give him a 4? Boo!
You're giving a 0. They gang raped someone.
Well, but it's all about sharing a story. It doesn't matter. It's all about sharing a story.
Therapy.
Yeah, well, I agree. He should have been laying down when he told this goddamn story. I mean, but I mean, I recognize the difficulty and I respect him bringing it to the stage like that. If he felt that's how he wanted to work it out, that's fine. Because, dude, I went for years where I couldn't even talk about my dad without crying. I couldn't. I mean, and I've talked about that on here, where I finally asked my mom. I go, was Dad a monster? You know what I mean? I had to fucking ask her. So I mean, maybe people want to work it out in front of a room full of strangers. Maybe it's easier for him. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. And also, maybe maybe it was an acting class exercise and nobody was gang raped. He was just doing it to see what he could do. I had no fucking idea.
An after school special.
Yeah. He took that from the 80s. It was some, all of a sudden I turned it on, there's Eve Plum, and I was a teenage prostitute, and she's getting worked, and I'm like, hold on a second, what the fuck? I just saw this goddamn story at the Moth in 6 minutes. And I got to be honest with you, it tied up everything in 6 minutes a lot better than this movie has. All right, so he finishes the story. He gets a bunch of 10s. And at that point, I've decided I got to leave. Because I don't want to sit here and watch all these stories, even though it was interesting, but I can do that. You know what I mean? That was basically what I went for, was to see what I could do it. But I will say, I only stayed to see who the next person was because I wanted to see how they followed gang rape. And it was a guy who wound up, again, a story unique to him because it was about driving. His story was about being on a rickshaw in Japan. And he told a story, and he was funny, and he had a command of the stage. And I will say this, too. It's funny to see people have their 5-minute story in their pocket with the beats, and they know where they're going with it and stuff like that. Because I can talk for 5 minutes, and I can tell a 5-minute story, obviously. But you can see that, you can almost see them in front of a mirror. You know what I mean? Like you can see their Toastmaster General, adjusting their tie. Well, another time I was in Japan, and it's like they're just, terrible. So, but again, I saw, Rickshaw Boy tell his fucking story, and he got like 9s or whatever, and then that was it. I staggered my way out of the goddamn club. I'm like, I can do this fucking thing. So, then I went to the Moth the second time, at the El Cid. And again, huge line. You have to get there at 6 for a fucking 8 o'clock show. And I'm waiting, and I got to pay my admission to get in. And this time I put my name in the hat. You put your name in the hat, then you got to, go ahead and they fill out paperwork, whatever the fuck. So I fill it all out. I put my name in the hat. And now I'm in the hat, so that means I'm committed. I can't stagger out in the middle of this fucking thing. So I wait. And again, they start pulling names. And packed. Standing room, you can't even fucking move. I will say this. I commandeered a stool because I was wearing a black shirt and black pants. And I grabbed a chair, and I sat by a cash register, and everybody thought I worked there. So nobody questioned the fact that I was sitting there. It was great. So I got to sit down the entire fucking time. But, I was at the El Cid. I wasn't even in the main floor. I was behind the brick wall up against. It was packed. You couldn't even fucking move. And so I go, and I throw my name in the goddamn hat, and I don't get picked. I'm there all night. They pull out some lady who talks about gardening. They pull out, all these different bullshit stories and bad stories. This night, there were 10 stories, and I would say 8 of them were bad. And there's nothing worse than when a bad, person goes up to tell a bad story, and it's like, when I was 13, and it's like, oh, dude, I don't like you now at 40. God knows what a pill you were at 13. So, I don't get picked. I fucking sit back there, and they don't take my name. And I have now. It's even worse because I have to watch it. You know what I mean? I have to watch the entire fucking night unfold before my eyes. Going, Jesus Christ! If I get up there, I would destroy this room. I would fucking lay this room out to where people would then come up to me and go, dude, because that's the whole thing. I wanted to perform at the Moth because then people would see me and say, hey, you should do this or you should do this. It's the way to get seen. It's the way to get tapped in, and the way to network, and the way to have people. Like, I wanted the Moth people to see me and go, holy shit, you should be doing the main stage. That's all I wanted. I don't give a shit about winning the contest. I don't give a shit about moving on. I don't want to be in the contest. I don't want to get judged by fucking gazpacho and chips and salsa. I want to fucking tell stories and have people go, those are great, and then I leave. Okay? I want to Elvis. I want to sexual chocolate this entire room. That's what I want to fucking do. I want to go up. I want to tell a story and go, sexual chocolate. Drop the microphone, point like Elvis, and fucking walk off and put some Soul Glow on. That's all I want to do. As a child in Zamunda, I had a weird upbringing. I was rich. I was the son of the king, but I still felt alone inside. I mean, I had a friend. Calling him a friend is a stretch. He was actually my personal servant, but we formed a friendship, a bond. His name was Semi. But Jesus, the only thing we wanted to do was come to America. Oh, Christ. All right, so we should start a fake Moth where people tell stories like that. God damn, that'd be awesome. We do. We really need. We should have done it instead of said it. Again, I should have done it instead of said it.
No,
that's the story of my life.
Butterfly podcast
huh?
Next week.
Which one?
Butterfly podcast.
We'll call it the Wasp. Let's go with the Wasp. All right, so I go to the Moth. I don't get picked, and I have to sit there the whole fucking time and watch bad stories. And then I go 2 more times. Against my better. Again, I don't want. I'm just doing it because I keep thinking if I just get seen, if I can just get up there once and tell one fucking story and bring the goddamn house down, then they will go, all right, well, this is a guy worth having. Because, the Moth is hosted by comics. It's hosted by guys. And I go and look at the Moth podcast, and they've had Patton and Doug and Sarah. All these people tell these stories. It's like AskCat at the UCB. It's like a comic goes up and does a monologue, and then they do improv about what he talked about. Jesus, I would love to do those things. I think I'd be good enough to do those things. But nobody knows who the fuck I am, as we've mentioned millions of times. So I go 2 more times to them. I go 4 times in all. I have to pay every single time. $40, never get picked. And I got to tell you, I don't give a fuck about the money. All right, if they would have picked my name, I would have been happy to pay the $10. If they told me every time I came, I had to pay $10, but I could go up and tell a story, I would have done it. I don't care. I'm looking for the opportunity to go up and talk and get noticed. That's it. So it's not me bitching about $40. It's me bitching about the process. And it's, I'm no better than anybody else. But God damn it, I'm better than everybody else. You know what I mean? I'm no better than everybody else who gets to put their name in the hat. But Jesus, I'm better than those motherfuckers. I shouldn't have to put my name in the hat. You know what? You should give me the hat. That's how fucking good I am. I should tell a story. You should give me the hat. So I went 4 times, man, and it was nice of Jesse to try to get me in there, and it's great, but I haven't been back. I went 4 times and then went, you know what, that's $40 to write my name down and put it. Well, I only wrote it down 3 times and put it in the hat. The first time was a scouting mission. I was there. I was doing recon. But yeah, so the Moth, hopefully someday I can break through there. I have no idea. Eventually, maybe I'll go and put my name in that. I don't know. Who fucking knows? So Jesse also, I will tell you. So then, let's flash forward again, or back to the end of September. I told you Mark wrote me, and then a couple days later, I get an email from Kevin Allison, who runs the Risk podcast, and Jesse Thorne had contacted him, telling him that he thought that I would be good for their show, that I would be someone to do. So when I got the letter from Kevin, because I don't know Kevin at all, you know what I mean? To the point where even calling him Kevin seems ludicrous. I mean, I don't know Mr. Allison at all. We've never met. But I'm familiar with the Risk podcast because, again, a lot of you folks have written me and said, Mike, you should do Risk, you should do The Moth, you should do these different shows, these storytelling shows. So I knew what Risk was, and I'd heard it, and it's the same type of show where some of the segments are live, some of them are people in their house, they cut a story and they give it to Risk, and Risk edits them and puts them within the body of the show. So I get this note from Kevin Allison, and I know from reading it, Kevin has never heard my show. Because the first note was, hey, I'm having a blast listening to the 40-Year-Old Boy podcast, which he's being nice, and he's trying to establish rapport, and he doesn't know me. He doesn't know who the fuck I am. Again, I'm nobody to Kevin Allison. He has he's in New York, and he's heard from a guy that I might be good for his show. That's basically it. So Kevin, doing due diligence, goes ahead and sends a note. And again, look, I could be shitting on myself here, and I Kevin may have heard the show and liked it a lot. I have no idea. Maybe that's just his style of writing, to write things in long and use the formal title for everything. You know what I mean? Like, it would be like if I was like, I truly enjoy rooting for the Chicago Bears. You know what I mean? It just seems, you like the Bears. Great, I like the Bears. I like football, but no one's like, oh man, do I enjoy supporting the Chicago Bears? I am a true fan of Major League Baseball, and my favorite club to enjoy is the Philadelphia Phillies. I mean, it's just very formal, and no one talks like that, and no one types like that. So Kevin was just doing a nice thing, and here I am fucking making sure I'll never be on Risk. I hope that's not the case. But Kevin wrote me, and he said, hey, dude. He didn't say dude, because, again, he's very formal. He said, I'm having a blast listening to the 40-Year-Old Boy podcast. We think it's something that we would like to use in Risk. I will tell you, he goes, here are some upcoming dates. If you're ever in New York, we would like to have you do a show. And look, I'm never in New York, all right? But I understood how great that was for him to even offer. He goes, we also have a show in Los Angeles in September, a live show at the UCB. Let me know, if you're around, or if you want to do a show for a story for our show. Whatever you want to do is great. And this is coming off the heels of The One Man. It's coming, Tarantino's in the mix, and Marin, and now Risk. And I'm like, dude, it's all happening. People are fucking noticing. This is great. So I write Kevin back, and I was like, look, this is so nice of you to offer. I really appreciate it. I have some questions. First of all, I would really, really love to do the live show at the UCB. I mean, because, again, live format, going in and telling a story and not really being restricted to 5 minutes and being able to do what I do. Jesus. And just to go into a room full of people who are there to see Risk and who have no idea who I am, to fucking debut. You know who I am? I'm a debutante. That's who I am. That's my, what's that when they present like some young woman to society?
It's your coming out.
Yeah, it's my coming out party. There you go. So I was excited to do that. And then I wrote him and I said, look, I don't know if you need me to cut a new story for the show, or can I just send you a story from my podcast, because the stories range anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes long on Risk. I think I could find a 15-minute story somewhere. I could probably dig one out. I'm sure my trip to South Bend with the Magician for an hour and 40 minutes would not rank. But I 1/10. I could send him 1/10 of that. That'd be fine. But I wrote him and I said, and also I need to clarify this, because the stories on Risk are people talking. The live segments have people laughing and enjoying themselves. The regular stories are just people in a studio or whatever, they recorded in their house or wherever they recorded it, telling a story, and it's just a dry recitation of the story. It's still good, and they tell them well, but I said to him, I go, look, my producer laughs throughout my stories. I don't know why she does, but she does. So I said, look, I'm happy to recut a story with no laughter if that's what you need, but I have plenty of fully formed stories from my show that I can send. However, there will be laughter involved with them. I know the live, whatever. I over-explained myself to a guy I've never met in my life, and sent him the note. And waited. And waited. and waited to hear back from Kevin. And I don't want to be a pest. All right. I will tell you this about me. I will never bother people. And Lily makes fun of me because she goes, what you call bothering, other people would call marketing. And I contacted them once. That should be enough. And she's like, no, that isn't enough, because a guy like Kevin who runs the Risk, he's got to have 1,000 people emailing him about stories and sending him stories, and he's putting together live shows and all these different things. But I don't want to be a fucking, you know what? I don't want to be a moth in his ear. All right. I don't want to be. We'll call our show The Net. I don't want to be the net that's constantly in his ear going, oh my God, please put me on. I want to be on. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that fucking guy, because it's partly, I know my place. All right. Nobody knows who the hell I am. And I'm just waiting for a chance to prove to people who I am. And also it's partly, these people should know who the fuck I am, which I know is completely ridiculous and stupid. It's the same reason I don't ask for friends on Facebook. It's because, hey man, you know where I'm at. Come find me. Stupid. It's wrong. It's the worst philosophy of all time. But that's who I am. And I didn't want, but I also truly, it's 90-10. 90 that I didn't want to bother Kevin because I don't want to fuck this up. I don't know any better. Because I have strangled shit to death in the past. All right. So, I don't hear from Kevin, but I do hear from Mark Maron, who writes me with a date to record his show. And he's like, how about this date? Does that work for you? And I nearly break my keyboard from typing quickly enough, like to answer his email. I'm like, I start pounding the keys to say, but I try to. Then I write, yeah, I can make that work. Stupidly, instead of going, yes, please, I'll sleep at your house. So I'm like, yeah, I can make that work. That sounds great. What time? And I'll need the whens and wheres. Go ahead and shoot him over. And he's nice enough, and he sends me the where it's going to be, which is smart because otherwise the show's going to be terrible. The interview is not going to go well at all. So he gives me his address, and this is great. So I'm all lined up. I'm ready to go. And again, still don't hear from Kevin. Go to Mark's. It was a few days later, and I go to Mark, and Mark lives, if you've listened to the show, I'm up at the ranch. I'm at the cat ranch. And so I make the scene, and I drive past his house. It's hard to find the address. So I drive past, and I have to do like a U-turn. Then I have to go and park. It's a narrow street. And I come walking out of my car, and he's on his porch. And he's just like, what happened? He's watching me the whole time. So already now, it was so important to me to look cool and be, because I don't know Mark. I've never met him. I've only been in a room with him one time. And did I mention it on here? I was in a room with him and Andy Kindler, and it was hard to breathe as Mark's neuroses sucked all of the air out of the goddamn room. It was crazy. He was so worked up about going up and being on stage. So I've never even met the man. So I see him on his porch, and he busts my balls about, nothing really, but just like, oh, what happened there? And I'm like, dude, I missed your address. And he's real friendly and nice, and he brings me in the back, and we go to record, and we make a little small talk, and then we sit down. And I will tell you this about Mark's show. He just starts talking to you. Okay. And you're talking, and he's talking, and you don't realize that the show's going on at that point. You know what I mean? It was a very effective technique. And actually, I'm scared shitless because I don't know if I said anything bad that he's going to wind up keeping. I have no idea. So we start talking, and he says this to me, and this is relevant to all of you. He says to me, he goes, man, you have like the most persistent fans I've ever heard of. And again, I might be misremembering the exact quote, but I said, really? He goes, every day I got email telling me that I should have you on my show. Every day. And finally I decided that, I got to have you on. So thanks to you people, because again, nobody knows who the fuck I am except you people. And you went out of your way to try to contact somebody, and it worked. It got me on his show. So thanks. And so we talked about that a little bit. We talked about fans, and then we just wound up talking. All right. And I will tell you this, Mark, he didn't know anything about me. Okay. I think he wound up booking me because of you people basically demanding it or suggesting me. And he did that without really knowing anything about me. So when we talked, I found out he had only listened to one episode of my show. And it was, although it wasn't a bad episode for him to get a sampling of, because it was the episode, I can't remember well, I should look up the number here before I talk, right? It was the episode where I wound up moving a couch for my neighbor, and I got fucking furious. And then I told the story about almost fighting the Marine guy in the laundry room and all that stuff. So that was a pretty good introduction for Mark to find out who I was and kind of what I'm about, about rage and anger and every other fucking thing. Because again, that's what Mark's got. Mark's, full of rage. So we were I felt that we were kind of kindred spirits. And the thing is, I got to tell you, man, I love Mark. I read his book. I've watched him every time he'd be on TV. He had a quote there was an old newspaper called Just for Laughs that used to be like, in Chicago they had the Reader, and in LA they had the LA Weekly. Any free newspaper like the Onion, there used to be one called Just for Laughs that was available in comedy clubs, and it was a national newspaper that was about comedy, and it would just appear in your comedy club like, almost like the shopper of comedy. And they interviewed Mark Maron once, and he told a great story about he was hanging out with Kinnis in L.A., and then he had to bail on that because it just wasn't working, and then he went back to Boston, and he was working in a coffee house. And he said he was just bitter and angry that he's drawing fucking cappuccinos for people going, hey, I used to hang out with fucking Kinnison, man. And I loved that quote so much. I mean, it was just because I'm that guy. I've sat, as a night watchman, I sit at a desk and going, I've written for fucking TV shows. I've been on TV. I mean, Jesus Christ. I had Warren Beatty come up and tell me how fucking funny I was, but you sit there and make sure nobody steals a car. I mean, it's just that weird, misplaced fucking anger and rage about where you've wound up. But fortunately for Mark, he wound up in a much better place to be angry from because he's successful and funny and infinitely better at what he does than I am at what I do. So, I mean, I can't argue with that. So he's made something of himself, which is great. I am, I'm fucking me. And whatever. I'm not trying to pour mouth myself. I think I'm fucking great. All right, so Mark and I do the interview, and it's fucking, I mean, it really, I thought it went good. I mean, I honestly do not remember anything about it, and I'll tell you why in a second. But we finished the interview, we wound up talking, and it was just so exciting for me to be there, because all of a sudden, you know what? I wasn't on the outside looking in at that point. I wasn't fucking raging in the middle of the night talking about, oh my God, nobody knows who I am, and how am I going to fucking fix this, and what am I going to be able to do? It was acceptance. It was a door. You know what? Someone finally opened the door. They saw me fucking staring in, and they went, hey, let's let that guy in. You know what I mean? It was like, it was such a great feeling for me. And coming off of the one man being a success, and then me anticipating, like, again, you know me, I rev. All right, when anything happens good, I spin off it, or anything, even in a story, and I try to mine it and find it for everything that I can. Well, we did the one man, and then I'm like, well, holy fuck, I recorded that. You know what? Maybe I can cut some of it out and make an album of it. I could sell a CD, or I could have this. I could put this online, or have a bonus show, and I could do that. I get to do the show everywhere. I could do it in Los Angeles, and then people are going to bring me. I can go to different cities. Like, you start, because possibilities show up. Okay? Because you're actually doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing, and you become excited about it again. And you realize, you know what? I can do this, and I should be doing this, and people want me to do this, so why the fuck shouldn't I do this, right? So for Mark to accept me and bring me in and have me do that was great. It was certainly not the culmination, but I felt it was just the first step in now, well, once I do Mark's show, that gives me some validation, and I can spin that into this, and maybe I can get on here, and I've still got Risk in the pipeline. I'm waiting to hear back from them, and I can do the UCB show. It's all happening. All right. I'm Patrick Fugit in Almost Famous. It's all happening. So I say goodbye to Mark, and he could not be nicer. He gives me free coffee, which is fantastic. And it was, I have to be honest, he gave me the free coffee, and it made me think of his story about when he worked in a coffee house, and he was so angry. And I wanted to say that to him, but I felt stupid. But it just, because I had talked, I think I mentioned on the show how much that quote meant to me, because it was in his book later too, that when I read his book. But I thought it was neat that my connection to him all of this time was the quote about him working in a coffee house. And now in my first interaction with the guy, it ends with me getting coffee. Like I loved it. I mean, you know what? I could have been one of the bitter, the people at the counter waiting to get the coffee from Mark Maron while he was bitter and he raged. I mean, it was fucking fantastic. It was a perfect ending for it. So I thought. So then I leave. And I get in my car, and I will tell you this, I did not sleep that day because he scheduled me early in the day. Like, he wanted to see me at 11 or noon. And first of all, I'm tired of telling people that I live upside down. I'm tired of because people try to schedule me for early stuff, and I always have to go, is there a way I can do that at 5? You know what I mean? When everybody else's work day is ending, because that's fucking, unfortunately, the life I've carved out for myself. But for Mark, I stayed up. I wound up being Night Watchman Jones and fucking worked in Graveyardville all night, and then went to his house at noon. and then recorded the show, and then came home and crashed and dreamed of coffee and my heroes. All right, so so that was fantastic. So I did that, and then I was waiting. When I left, I said to Mark, first of all, then we started to talk about my show a little bit, and he's like, he's like, how many listeners a week? How many downloads a week do you get? And I told him, and I'll be honest with you, this is how I felt. And again, this is just me. You know me, I'm crazy. I make fucking something out of nothing. He looked like he blanched, like he kind of flinched a little bit. Because, that guy's getting 160,000 downloads a week. You know what I mean? And when I tell him what I get, it was almost like he was like, like, really? Like that kind of, like, why are you in my house? You know what I mean? It was almost like that kind of a feeling. And I'm like, I don't know, because all of those people, every single person that I just mentioned to you in number form wrote you. That's why I'm in your goddamn house. But again, that's just me fucking tilting at windmills in my goddamn head. So probably wasn't the case. I leave after we discuss the downloads. And I said to him, I said, hey, when is this going to air? Should I plug it on my show this week? And he said, oh, no. He goes, it's going to be a couple weeks. I'll let you know when it's going to happen because we got some other shows that are in the pipeline that we got to get squared away. And I said, that's fine. No problem. So I split and I go home and I crash. Meanwhile, I'm waiting to hear from Kevin. I'm waiting to hear about Mark. I'm all excited. I got the one man happening. And then people start to write me about bring me to their town, bring me to Portland, bring me to Phoenix, bring me to Austin. I'm so excited about that. That's all taking shape. And I'm trying to figure out what I can do with the one man. I contact my buddy Dave in New York, the guy who gave me the idea to do a one man in the first place. And I start sending people the audios. We can break it down and I can make it into a one-man show instead of a one-man goddamn concert that it was 2.5 fucking hours long. As, by the way, this is going long. I know, I get it. I apologize. Lily should have... You know what? Actually, you might not even be hearing this. Lily might have just put in the test pattern noise in the theme song. I have no clue. None of this might be airing. So this is the end of August, beginning September, and everything's happening. All the balls are in the air. I'm all excited. I'm crazy excited. And I wait a week, and the show doesn't air from Mark, and I don't hear from him. But I will tell you this, I finally decide, you know what, the UCB show is coming up in L.A. for Risk. I decide it's about time I wrote Kevin Allison. All right, I have to do it. I've waited long enough for him to recognize my genius, and I need to go ahead and have a career and be a normal person and write to find out what's happening. So I write Kevin, and I go, hey, Kevin, I just wanted to touch base about the live show in L.A. and see if there was any chance that I was going to be doing that, and also to reiterate the questions that I had regarding submitting stories for the show. And Kevin writes me back. Right away, he wrote me back that night, and he explains that I am not going to be on the show at the UCB in L.A. because he did not realize that they were already booked, and they had a lot more people than they needed, I suppose. And he also mentioned that they have plenty of shows in New York. If I'm ever in New York, I can contact him to see about doing one of those. And then he gets to me sending them a story, and he says, hey, if you did want to submit a story for the podcast, let me know, and you can either Skype with us, and I'll have my producer go ahead and record it for you, or if you have one that you think you can submit, go ahead and do that. All right, thanks, Kevin. In reading that, I realized that Kevin didn't even read my previous note. All he read was about the LA show, and then that. And again, look, it was even nice of him to talk to me. All right, it was even nice of Kevin to contact me in the first place, and I'm probably staring deeply into the mouth of a gift horse at this point with this fucking story that I'm telling you. But I specifically said, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to do this, or do you want me to do this, or do you want me to do this? And then he was like, hey, man, and now that I think about it, maybe I'm misinterpreting this. Maybe he was saying, instead of just addressing my concerns, he was saying you can either send a story or you can Skype it with us. Maybe he was just cutting to the chase without dealing with all of my fucking bullshit. Because, folks, we all know I'm a little wordy. So as I think about it now, maybe that's what he was doing, but it didn't answer the question of if I submit a story, do I want Lily involved in the laughing, and is he okay with any of that? Maybe I'm overthinking it. Fuck, who knows? All I know is he told me that if I want to submit a story, I can. And, of course, I took it to mean that I shouldn't, because I'm stupid. And now that I think, you know what? Fuck it. I should submit a story to him. I should just fucking send him a story. You know what story I'm going to send him? This one. I should just send him the story about me trying to get on the Risk podcast. That'd be fantastic. Let's go meta with the whole thing. A story on the Risk podcast about a guy trying to get on the goddamn Risk podcast. So again, folks, all the balls are in the air. All the balls are in the air. And all of a sudden the Kevin Allison ball gets dropped on the ground. Oh, all right. Well, that's okay. I still got the one man in the air. I still got Marin in the air. That's still fine. Because again, I could submit a story. I guess I should just fucking do it, right? I should just submit a story to Risk. Yeah, I guess. But I don't know the rules. I don't want to send him a story and then wait 2 weeks and then have him send it back and go, this isn't a story that, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't fit our format. I don't fucking know. Who knows, folks? This just gets to who I am as a person. I just want people to go do this. And then I can do it. That's it. That's all I want to do. Just say, do this, and then I can do it specifically to what you're asking me to do. You don't think so? You don't agree?
No, because then you'll go, I don't want to do that.
No, I want to do it my way. Do this. No, fuck that. I want to do what I want to do. No, but this show is for me to do what I want to do. So forget that voting thing I told you about earlier, folks. All right, so your votes are null and void. I'm sure you've already typed them out, but who cares? All right, so that's okay. I'm still juggling, and another week goes by, and I don't hear from Mark, and another week goes by, and I don't hear from Mark. Meanwhile, other shows are airing, and not only are other shows airing, but shows that he's recording in the interval are airing. Like, I follow Mark on Twitter, and I see his posts, and I know he's like, hey, I'm interviewing this guy tomorrow, and then that interview airs Thursday on his show. And I'm like, oh, you said you had other stuff ahead of me. I didn't realize that your date book was ahead of me as well. Now, again, I'm being a child here, folks. I fully recognize that, okay? I went, I did the interview, and I was really happy and I was excited because I wanted, you know what? I wanted to tell you guys about it because you were the ones who made it happen. So I'm all excited, and plus I did it, and it was going to open up windows, and balls are in the air, one-man shows rocking, everything's working, and then we put up the pages to bring me to cities, and those have, those cities have fallen stagnant, folks. Those literally, I have the number of people who want to bring me to their city are equivalent to the number of people who would have survived a zombie apocalypse in those cities. If there were a zombie apocalypse in Portland, 39 people would have survived it, and thankfully they want me to come to their town and do a show. So all I need to do is saddle up with Woody Harrelson and some shotguns and drive a fucking Camaro or a big, huge fucking SUV into Portland and do a show while we fend off zombies. So that ball starts to kind of fall out of the air too, where I'm like, because you realize the work involved. I just want to show up and talk. We've discussed me cutting to the chase. I don't like algebra, folks. I know that x equals 5. I don't need to write 5 different fucking things that shows you how I don't want to show my work. I never want to show my work, okay? I just want to show up in your town and be funny. I don't want to have to book a theater. I don't want to do all that. But I'm willing to do it. I want to do it. But unfortunately, there aren't enough people who want me to do it. Dude, I'm an idiot. So another week goes by, and another week goes by. So then I write Mark. After 6 weeks. Because I will tell you, the date I recorded the show with him was September 2nd. So 6 weeks go by. Middle of October, I write Mark a note, and I go, hey, look, I understand the big names take precedence. Because, again, folks, I'm nothing if not a passive-aggressive dick. I write, hey, I know the big names take precedence, but I just wanted to see if my show's in the pipeline. Wanted to get a heads up for when I can plug it or whatever. And try to be, optimistic, nice, not mean or whatever. And I didn't want to look. I didn't want to be me in the email. Okay, I wanted to be business me. So he writes me back, and all Mark writes is, "Yeah, we've been on vacation recently. Let me talk to my producer and find out what's up." And this is in the middle of October, I think. And here we are, in the middle of November, and I've not heard back, and the show is not aired. And all, there are several possibilities here, and all of them are on me. All right, they're not on Mark. I'm overreacting. There's no doubt that I'm overreacting because even talking about it, I've waited. All right, look, I got to be honest. I've waited, 2.5 months to tell you guys about this, and I've been waiting for it to air because I was all excited, and they want it to be a surprise and things like that, and that's fine. And I think I have very clearly established that there will be no surprise coming up. Except for Mark, when someone writes him and goes, hey, did you hear what this fucking asshole said on his show? But the good news is no one's going to fucking sit through this entire fucking thing to hear me saying this shit, so that's not a problem. But this is not on Mark. It's on me because you know what? Mark has interviewed fucking Ray Romano. He's interviewed Robin Williams. The people in the interval have all been huge. He did a 2-parter with Louis C.K., 2-parter with Judd Apatow. He's talked to Sarah Silverman. He's talked to huge names. Those people do take precedence. They got to go up. And then he's done live shows. Those are special events. So I understand. Those got to go up. And, aside from the fact that all of the people he's spoken to are better known than me, I have to face the very real possibility that my interview with Mark might have been fucking terrible. I mean, because I don't remember it. I'm being honest with you. It felt good when I left, but what the fuck do I know? I'd been up for 30 hours. I mean, I went in the back and talked to him in a shed and then got free coffee and tried to extricate myself from his narrow street with a fucking 3-point turn. Who fucking knows what I talked about? I got no clue. Here it is. It's 10 weeks later. The only thing I know is I was extraordinarily happy then, and I'm not so fucking happy now. I hope he just fucking plays it so I can remember that I used to be happy. That'd be great. Play the fucking interview just so I can remember a time when I actually thought there were possibilities and things that were going to be succeeding. Jesus, fuck. So I don't fucking know, man. It could be terrible. I might have just spoken gibberish. My mic might not have been plugged in. You know what? This whole thing could have been a fucking elaborate prank just to get people to stop emailing him. He might have brought me in knowing that I'm a fucking motor mouth asshole. He's like, you know what? I'll bring this guy to the fucking ranch and we'll have a conversation for an hour. I can give an hour of my life just to fucking get these people out of my goddamn hair. So he brings me, lures me into the back. Because again, I didn't even know if we were starting. He never said ready to set go. I'm just sitting at a microphone with him and we bullshitted for fucking hour and 20 minutes. Maybe we fucking weren't recording. Maybe he just did it to get me out of his fucking hair. God damn it. And I wasn't even in his hair to begin with. It was you people. Folks, get out of Mark Maron's hair. What the fuck? So this is 10 weeks ago, man. 10 weeks ago when I had possibilities and I had balls in the air and things were great. One Man was great. Bring Me to a City was great. Everything was looking fucking great. And I recorded with Mark and Risk and just it all the balls are on all my balls are on the fucking ground. Seriously, folks. Middle of November, all of my balls are on the fucking ground. There's nothing I can do about it. So I don't, and look, I'm not doing this because I'm like indicting anybody. I don't want you to, look, don't write Mark and go, where's Mike Schmidt's interview? Free Mike Schmidt's interview. Because again, there's a very real possibility that it's fucking terrible. So if you fucking get him to play, because he may have just went, not only big names, but he might have listened back to it because we talked. He didn't know who the fuck I was. He still has no clue. I bet if he saw me in person, he would have no idea who I was because it was one meeting on one morning in his goddamn house. And I went in and we talked. And it's so funny. I will say this. I've had this thought in the 10 weeks as I've, killed myself over this because obviously it's my fault. All right. Obviously I wasn't good enough. I had my chance and I fucking blew it. It's like when I had my chance to talk to the people at ABC and I went in and I fucking choked it away. And when I had my chance to audition for Evening at the Improv and I killed it, but nothing ever came of it. I choked it away. This is another opportunity that I had and I went in and it felt good at the time and I wound up fucking choking it away. It's just another in a long string of me stepping on my goddamn dick. And it's like, I gotta stop, man. That's what I'm saying. That's why this week was, because I've talked to Lily about this. She's known about it since I did it because I was so excited. And then, as the time ticked by, leaving you with nothing, mister, but boring stories of glory days, I was like, fuck, when is this going to air? What am I going to do? What should I do? And I will tell you this. In my notebook, because I have a notebook, and it's like it's got it's got all sorts of notes of what I'm going to possibilities or subjects or things that happen to me. Like 5 pages ago is just the word Marin with a question mark. I wrote it down. I was like, Marin? Like, are you going to talk about this? Is this something you should bring up? And I got to be. I don't mind bringing it up because he did nothing wrong. I mean, I'm not. There's no bridge to burn here. There wasn't even a bridge. It was we built an ottoman between us. That's all we had between us. There was no bridge. There was no heavy lifting or construction. It was one day, one interview, one thing. And if anything, I built a shitty ottoman. That's what I did. And unfortunately, that ottoman will never see the light of day, especially now. Because I don't want. I've been fighting this weird. All right, you know who I am, folks. I always have a torch. And I'm waiting to set shit on fire. It's stupid. It's fucking dumb. Why? Why do I want to burn this shit down? I don't really. It's just I'm just getting tired of fucking pounding on the window waiting for people to notice me. That's all. It's, just quit walking past my hat, motherfucker. You see it. Put money in it. What the fuck? God damn it. You think I'm sitting out here playing this fucking stand-up bass on the street corner for me? No. I'm playing it for all you folks. Somebody notice me, god damn it. Doesn't anybody out there realize it's my 16th birthday? Jesus Christ. All day long, I got to deal with fucking Farmer Ted, and then someone wants to use my underpants and show up for 10 minutes. All I want is Jake Ryan to notice me, folks. Honestly, that's all I want. It's my 16th birthday. How do you people forget this? My sister's getting married. My dad, I can't believe he forgot. My grandparents are in my room. I can't believe my grandmother felt me up. So, folks, honestly, if you see Jake Ryan, just tell him about me. You've tried and I appreciate it, but all I want you folks to do, you follow me, you're with me, and I appreciate it, but God damn it, if we could just get Jake Ryan to sit on my kitchen table with a cake, everything would be that much better. You guys can get me at MikeandMikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can get me at Facebook.com/the40yearoldboy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40yearoldboy. You can follow our friend Lily Von Stupp on Twitter at Twitter.com/LilyVonStupp or at Twitter.com/MNTs. And if you want to be your friend on Facebook or write her a note there, you can write her at Facebook.com/LilyVonStupp. And if you want to write her a personal note and find out about the stitch in her side and see if she's recovered from that, go ahead and write her at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com.
Zazzle.com / 40-year-old boy. Please buy all his stuff.
Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 Clubs on Santa Monica and Vine in Hollywood, 10 o'clock p.m. Hey, Lily Bunched Up.
Hey, Michael.
You are the producer of that show. This week was the Muppet Show. How did that go?
Oh my God, sold out, standing room only. It was amazing.
Now, standing room. Now, the Muppets were not standing because they have arms jammed up their asses. So, people were standing, I guess, yes?
Some of the Muppets were standing.
Really?
Yes.
Standing at rigid attention as they got fisted? Because, look, when you're getting fisted, the best thing to do is stand at rigid attention. Sometimes you can't even help yourself. There's actually there's a GIF online of a girl, like, by the way, 4chan, thank you for putting this into my brain. But they'll, on 4chan, all right, folks, all right, I should do this all right. I don't even know what I'm telling you. On 4chan, people will start a thread, and they'll be like, put in your best blank GIFs here. You know, we want to see GIFs or pictures. And it'll say, like, facial thread, go. And then everybody will post their facial pictures. Or they'll pay, gore thread, go. And then someone will post a painal thread, which is, of course, anal sex with pain involved. Because then there'll be, that's a whole subgenre of the anal, because
I'm so glad you know this.
people
Thank
aren't
you.
just happy to see anal sex. They want to see somebody, getting hurt. And there's a GIF where a woman is, she's like on her knees, and a guy decides that he's going to have anal sex. He doesn't decide. He's pondering it. He's sitting under a tree like Isaac Newton, and an apple hits him in the head, and he goes, I'm going to fuck that chick in the ass. No, he's like, his job is to have anal sex with this woman. So he does. He seizes her by the hips, and then he enters her from the back. And then he's going to work like TT Boy, and then sure enough, she seriously, I mean, he does what he does. He goes to work like Big Daddy Kane, like a doctor. All right, so there's anal involved, and then she makes a face like and then she actually stands up from her prone position. She stands up on her heels, and he continues. It's a pretty fun GIF because it's like. The whole time she's just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then she's like standing up, like she's going to try to escape. But he's got her by the waist, and he's like, I don't think so. And he's still fucking building a pipeline. It's not bad. So, how did we get on that? Fisted Muppets. All right, so the Muppet Show went well. I understand. Is there any secret as to why people won't air my... That's why the show I did with Mark was all about Fisted Muppets. So the Muppet Show went well. You've got a show coming this week at the Santa Monica and Vine 3 Clubs.
Yes, I do.
And what would this show be?
It's a fake strip club show.
Fake strip club, meaning?
Meaning we're taking burlesque and we're making it stripperish.
Sleazing it up.
Yes, and it's being hosted by Rusty H. Stallion, the sporadically self-aware strip club DJ.
I'm not even going to try to repeat that, but it's good to know that Rusty will be there emceeing the show.
Yes.
And then there will be hot girls.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and they're stripping like strip style, not burlesque style.
Much more stripper style than just...
They're going to lose their handlebar mustache and their fucking bloomers and go to work.
There's still a lot of that. I mean,
Aw.
it's tongue-in-cheek strippers. Is what
Speaking of tongue-in-cheek thread, go. It's a close friend of the panel. Yeah, there you go. Nicely done. So, all right. So that's coming up. That's coming up this week, which is November 22nd, I believe.
Yes.
That's Monday, November 22nd at the 3 Clubs on Santa Monica and Vine, 10 o'clock p.m. Go and see the Fake Strip Club show. I think I'm going to be there because I like stripping and I like fakes. So I may bring my wife. We may wind up making a scene there and checking that show out. That'll be fun. Want to remind you folks about burlesquebears.com. Thanksgiving is upon us. Go ahead and buy a stuffed squanto, if you will. Why not get that involved? Go ahead and buy a Miles Standish and have her make a burlesque bear. Lily Von Strupp is the head of burlesquebears.com, and she will make whatever you want. Go ahead and request it and let her know all about it, or even ask her about it. Again, Christmas is coming up, folks. If you want buy like 12 bear elves and 8 bear reindeer, and then a bear Mrs. Claus, and then a bear Santa Claus, and then a bear Frosty the Snowman, and put a hat on him, and it's happy birthday. All right. So go to burlesquebears.com and learn all about that. Want to remind you folks that the Zazzle store still operates. The Mike Schmidt Zazzle store, which it's actually, if you go to it now, dust will come out of your speakers from your internet because I think we're actually selling tumbleweeds. But if you go there, you will check it out and you will see the merchandise that we have available. So if you go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com and you go to the Joe Business page, you can click on the Zazzle store and check out some cool stuff. And you can also check out Year 1 and Year 2 download sets, which are available individually or as a package in the Super Angry Guy Gene Happy Good Time Yelling Hour combo. So go ahead and pick those up. 25 for one, 40 for two, 50 for none. That's right. It's 50 just to visit the Joe Business page. I've got a velvet rope there, folks. Got to go ahead and pop in. Step by Big James and Chewy. Also, remember that our friend Rob Matsushita is at ClaymorePictures.net making films, making trailers, doing important things. Go go watch Chapel, his web series, and go to ClaymorePictures.net and learn all you can about Rob Matsushita. I want to remind you folks, if you need a trainer, go to RealWorldFit.com. Which is where my friend Sean is, and he can train you. If you go to twitter.com/realworldfit.com, you can also follow him and find out about the people that he's training and see whether you want to sign up with him or not. Because what if he's training famous people? Of course you want to get on that gravy train. You're like, yeah, I want to do push-ups behind Halle Berry and stare at a gupper. Of course, I'm in. I don't know if Sean is working on Halle Berry. I have no idea. But who cares? But if you know how you can find out, go to twitter.com/realworldfit.com and follow him. All right. The Zazzle store exists. Remember that on Facebook, you can go to the Westside 86 Jokers page on Facebook. That's the Mike Schmidt fan club, and become a member. And you will then be getting the Secret Dakota ring and the Lick'em Stick'em tattoos. That'll be fantastic. If you want to bring me to Phoenix, bring me to Portland, bring me to Austin, or bring me to the Ozarks, you can sign up on those pages on Facebook. You can go to Mike Schmidt, my page, the 40-year-old boy page, and I will have links always on the page, so you can go ahead and visit there. I had a thing this week with Facebook. A guy posted like 100 things on my wall. Yeah, but this is all right. I will tell you this: it's a kid who, weirdly enough, he did this before. He put I woke up one morning and there was like 150 posts from him, all in like nonsensical phrases, and I deleted all of them and then I unfriended him. Well, this is like 5 months ago or whatever. So then I just accept people when they ask to be my friends, which is dangerous. So Sunday morning, I saw someone wanted to be my friend, so I just said yes. Within 10 seconds, I had 15 things on my wall from this guy. So I don't know if it was a bot or what the fuck it was. And so immediately I unclicked like 15 of them. And by the time I could unfriend him and block him and all that stuff, then it was all off my wall. But then I heard from people that they could still see him. They could still see stuff on my wall. So that was a drag. So last week I was getting naked stuff from Facebook, and now I'm getting fucking spam. I mean, Jesus Christ, keep your pork shoulder in a can and don't fucking foist it upon me. I'm not interested in it. Naked picture, send them to me. That's fine. But I got no interest in fucking spam. So, but it was the same guy. And actually one of his friends, I guess, posted on my wall, oh man, why? Like really, even his friend, like he's a bot. If he's a bot, he's got a bot friend who shows remorse for his bot activities. It was odd. So anyway, who cares? Go to facebook.com/the40-year-old boy, and you will see links to all the Bring Me To pages and also to the Westside 86 Jokers. That would be fantastic. And my jaw hurts. I got to stop talking. So what else? Was there something else I got to touch base on? I don't think so. My jaw hurts because I was involved in something that I can't really talk about a while ago, a month and a half, 2 months ago. It was, let's put it, when it happened, all my balls were still in the air, most of them. But now they're all on the ground, as we've mentioned. It's funny. I talk about Mark and I talk about doing a show and stuff. I should have started a fight with him on his show. That would have aired, right? I mean, if I went ahead and just drew a line in the sand and was a complete obstinate jackass and was like evil, I mean, then you got to air that, because then it's all of a sudden I'm the Crispin Glover on David Letterman of podcasts. for all eternity, Mark's got that in his holster. He's like, look at this idiot who showed up at the cat ranch and killed a cat. That's right. Just call me Curiosity. All right, so. I had to get imaging on my jaw because of the thing that I can't really talk about. It's a long story, but I had to go to UCLA, to the imaging center, and I had to wait in a line with a lot of other bills for the president to sign. And so I'm sitting there, and they call me in and they give me like X-rays, and they're like jamming shit in my mouth, which is sometimes fun, but usually not at the hospital. And the first two are like standard dental X-rays where you got to bite down on something, tilt your head, and all that. But then the third one is the reason I'm at UCLA, because any dentist can give you X-rays. But this third one, I had to get cone imaging of my jaw, and apparently this is the only cone imaging machine for miles around. I have no clue. So they're like, you got to go there and pay $600 out of pocket. But I can't talk about it. All right, so. I had to go and so then they finally, the third test is they call me in the room for the cone imaging, and the guy sits me down. He's like, all right, you got to sit completely still. Don't swallow. Don't do anything. And they had a line, like there was a beam of light that went right down my face, and it went down the center of my face, and I had to line the point of my nose up so my face was perfectly divided in half by this beam of light. And he goes, all right, are you ready? And he goes and runs behind his 8,000-pound metal shield as I'm wearing, literally like a fig leaf made of lead. You know what I mean? Here, cover your cock. In case you ever want to have babies, which is, believe me, I'm not breaking any new ground. A million fucking comedians have done that bit, but it's always funny when you live it, when you're sitting there and you're like, really? This guy is in a tank, and all of a sudden I have to sit here in the middle of this swirling machine. I'm about to be sent to the negative zone. Honestly, me and General Zod are about to be fucking pitched off into the Phantom Zone, and I mixed that up. Negative Zone Marvel, Phantom Zone DC. I messed it up there. Caught myself. But yeah, me and Zod are about to get pitched up into the fucking Phantom Zone. All right, so I'm in the machine. It starts whirring, like that big startup, and I'm waiting for the MCP to have me, have a disc fight with Jeff Bridges. I don't know what the fuck's happening, and it's making this whirling noises. And then it starts pivoting around my head, and out of nowhere, I hear. Da na 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 na. Ode to Joy, Beethoven, but Ode to Joy as if played on a Casio tone watch. Beep, 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 like this really, and it just starts playing. So I'm like, oh, that's the worst ringtone I've ever heard. Fucking obviously, General Patton in the tank better get his goddamn phone. He left it on the counter. So it finished, but he doesn't answer it, and it continues, and the fucking the ringing won't stop, and then they finish imaging me, and he's like, it wears down, all the whirring stops. He pops out. He goes, all right, we've got to do this 8 more times.
Jesus Christ.
I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, they need 9 scans. Don't move. You can't swallow. I'll tell you when. But, are you ready? And, all right, brace yourself. And he runs away, and he climbs into the tank again. Everything starts whirring fucking crazy noises. Dee, 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 dee. His phone goes off again. I'm like, you got to be shitting me, dude. When you get out of the tank, grab the phone. Talk in the tank, all right? Do you not get reception in the fucking tank? Why are you leaving the phone on here? It's bugging the shit out of me. So he hops out of the tank after the second one, and he comes over, and I go, hey, your phone is ringing. And he goes, what do you mean? And I go, dude, your phone rings like every time you pop in there. And he goes, I don't have a phone. I said, what do you mean? He goes, are you talking about the Beethoven? And I go, yeah. And he goes, that's the machine.
Oh, Jesus.
I go, you're shitting me. He goes, no. He goes, believe me, it drives me crazy. I said, well, can't you turn it off? He goes, no. They built it into the machine. Like whenever anyone has this procedure done, whenever this machine is in use, that song will play. And 2 things I will tell you here. One, there's a comedian who does an extremely funny bit about Beethoven ringtones and about how Beethoven himself probably didn't intend for his songs to be used as a way to remind you of, and that comedian's name is Mark Maron. So it makes me laugh that ties in. But also, I will tell you this, Ode to Joy was my wedding song. When Karen and I walked into the room to be, for the first time as man and wife, when they do the thing where they introduce you and they have the, I should do a show about my wedding once, but I actually edited the music which we came into. We came into I made a collage of Eddie Van Halen solos. White trash to the core, ladies. But it was literally, I made 6 different Eddie Van Halen chunks, and we walked into that, and when we timed it to when we turned to the room, Ode to Joy burst in, which was, I made a tape, it was all wedged, it was fucking great. And it's so great on our wedding tape when you see it, and, this is a story in itself. God damn it, I shouldn't have even started it.
Next week.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter, it's not going to go anywhere. So now though, Ode to Joy has always meant something very special to me because I loved Mark's song, but it also was our wedding song when we walked in and we turned around and to see all of our family and friends standing on their feet and fucking cheering because they were the music was crazy. I mean, it was like when it hit, they went nuts because I cut it perfectly. And Karen and I, we just put our hands in the air. I'm like we just won the Super Bowl, you know what I mean? And it was such a great moment. And now every time I think of Ode to Joy, I just think of me with my mouth open at a fucking, 25-degree angle with a beam of light sawing my face in half. That's terrible. I mean, Why Beethoven? You should, like, I would have Metallica, like, fucking Ride the Lightning, because, I mean, dude, you're strapped into this fucking electrical thing anyway. I don't even. Why do I spit out this random bullshit that nobody fucking cares about? I am peddling obscenity. I am gonna get a whole fucking army of you people, and you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna listen to me and then do nothing for an entire fucking week. I can't be trusted. Don't you people know this? It was like the Back to the Future of suck. I don't want to have a boner in somebody else's pants. I need to shoot up heroin and jog. Hey, ass fuck, are you listening to anything that I'm saying to you? Fuck, somebody's gotta shut that old guy up. And I'm like, fuck you! I'm not a potato! I'm a goddamn cantaloupe! Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike.